Welcome, adventurers, to the world of Engrimoore, our Discord-based 5th edition D&D West March server. If you are watching this video, it is likely because you have just joined the server, taken a look around, and are interested in making a character. There are a few things that we're going to have to go over in terms of that process, and also the rules surrounding character creation, some basic stuff. But one thing to point out is in this server we actually use our own custom-made bot that we continually work on and update that handles a lot of different features for us. One of which is actually the character submission process, as well as character data, inventory, gold, etc. We can jump right in to the rules section real quick just to cover a few basic things. So we're going to go to the live server here, go up to server guide, and pull up the rules. Now, don't get intimidated. The rules section and helpful stuff sections are pretty chunky, but we would suggest just, reading through them, taking your time with them. You don't have to commit all of it to memory. These are here as a reference point for you at any given point. So if you have any questions about roleplay, resting, travel, or encounter channels, like if you're interacting with that feature and you want to brush up on something or just make sure you're not doing something wrong, always jump back to the rules, just go to this specific section, read what you need to know, and go on from there. So if we scroll down to character creation, here we go. Some basic things to cover. All characters start at level 3. All characters must be made in D&D Beyond. You'll see why that is a stipulation in a second. You are allowed a maximum of 3 characters, which our bot also handles. And there's a few other rules in here, certain use cases and specific scenarios, little things like height rules, background feat stuff. Just go ahead and read through that and make sure that you understand it, but we don't really need to cover that for now for our purposes. So I'm going to hop back into the dev server real quick, and we'll scroll down to stat rolls. So the first thing that you'll do is you'll run into stat rolls and you'll do the roll stats command, this command right here. And then the bot will respond by giving you an array of stats. It has some specific settings. The maximum total it can, or the minimum total rather, it can roll is 72. The maximum is 86. At least 2 of those rolls have to be over 14, and at least 1 of those rolls has to be under 12. These numbers matter. So you see that there are 6 numbers here. There are 6 stats, main stats in D&D. You can assign these numbers to whatever stat you want, but these are the numbers that need to be entered in to your stat block. You can't you can't do a thing where it's like, oh, I want to take 76 points and distribute them however I want. Like, your sheet needs to have, before any, racial bonuses or anything like that, your sheet needs to have 2 16s if you were using this roll, 1 14, 1 13, 1 9, and 1 8. So once you get your stat roll, one thing to note is that just because you rolled for stats doesn't mean that you're locked in. If you roll for stats and you really don't like your roll, we do allow you to use point buy or standard array in substitution for the stat roll, but you only get 1 stat roll per character slot outside of the specific scenarios that the rules channel breaks down for when you can reroll stats for a character slot. But after you get your roll and you decide what you want to do, you hop into D&D Beyond and you make your character. Like I said, they start at level 3, do everything like you need to do, and then you will go ahead and jump, once you're ready, jump into character submission. And once you're in here, you'll do /character submit new, you'll see pop up there, and you'll have 2 inputs that you can do. So in the case that you did standard array or point buy, you just need to make sure that A, you selected that on the D&D Beyond sheet when you created it, and B, that you just post your character sheet from Beyond in this section where it says sheet URL. And the way that you do that is you'll see a manage button next to your Beyond character's name on your sheet. You'll scroll down to where it says shareable link, and you'll just need to make sure that your settings aren't set, your sheet isn't set to private. It needs to be a publicly viewable sheet. But you'll click shareable link, and then you'll copy that link and paste it in here. Now, the difference is if you are using our stat roll, the way that you account for that is, first of all, make sure that in your Beyond sheet that you're under the manual role selection for your attributes, and then you hop in here, back into stat roles, and you copy the embed message link that it spat out for you when you did the command, and you just put that link in here. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like on your end when you do that. So you'll hit enter here, and then it'll say, thanks, your submission has been submitted. You will be notified upon review. And then you can dismiss that message. And then what'll happen is we'll get a message in the staff channels that gives us a breakdown of your sheet, and the bot itself will scan your sheet to see if it runs into any issues, if there's anything that we've told it to flag or look out for that are wrong. So like if you put a magic item on your sheet, or your stats don't match your roll, or your point buy is fudged and you've got way more points than you should somehow. Anything that looks wrong on the sheet, it tries to flag for us, but of course we also can review it ourselves manually if anything looks slightly off to us. And I can scroll up and show you what it looks like when that happens. So for instance, I tried to submit it earlier and I had the stat rolls wrong, and I had a magic item in the list, which is this blowgun of warning here. And so it flagged that, said that those things were wrong, and then as you see here on this current message, it gives us the ability to approve or reject the submission. If we hit reject, if it has any issues, it will pull those and put them into a message, and then send that message to the player privately. So you'll actually get a message from our bot that tells you, hey, sorry, your submission for this character was rejected due to this reason. And so we can put in reasons there. So like it has a magic item, this is, the stats don't match up, these sorts of things. And then you can go in and you can fix those things and then resubmit. And then once the sheet looks good, we'll go ahead and hit approved. And then one of the things that can happen, because as I said before, our bot does manage inventory, it'll try and pull your inventory for you. It'll try and pull your inventory from D&D Beyond. Sometimes there's things in here that aren't named the same in our system as they are in D&D Beyond, or certain things get adjusted. So it'll flag things that couldn't get ported over, and we'll just let you know like how to walk through the process of manually adding those items in to make sure that everything's accurate. But once your character is approved, you will get a ping in the approved PCs channel. So it'll say, well, it updated. So it would normally give your, Discord profile here at first, but Loki Genki, Father Byakuya has been approved. You may now import your character in Avare using this command in a spam channel. Once you're ready, you may begin your journey in Jade Seaport. So it gives you a little blurb about your character. And then what you do is you'll go into, I think I went into dice rolls, yeah. So you go into dice rolls and you'll do that import command as you see here. So ! import, and then the character sheet link again, like you had to do for submissions. And then that ports that information over into Avare, which is D&D Beyond's roller bot that we don't use the bot for, we don't use our bot for rolling or any sort of dice stuff or anything like that, or combat. Like there's already a really robust bot made for that by D&D Beyond, so we just lean on that for those things. So now both of those bots have the information they need generally to function. And then at that point, it'll give you this message that it's loaded. It will automatically update your name, and it will update some roles for you as well. So, you'll get the adventurer role. It'll actually know what class role to give you, all these sorts of things. So you are good to go at that point for this character. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, just a little Avare tip, is Avare pulls over some information. But one of the things that you want to do after the import command has been entered is you actually want to do this command. It's called level, and I'll type it out for you. So the way that you do this for your character is you do class. So you pick their class, and then if they have subclasses, sometimes you won't right away. But you do level, class, then subclass. So in this case, it would be Father Byakuya, I think, is a war cleric, so it would be cleric war domain. it pulls over his hit die, because you'll need that when you short rest, otherwise the system does not know that you have hit die. It knows what level you are now, and it knows that you have this class, so there's actually specific commands that you can now look up for that subclass and class. If you do !A, and it'll actually have the War Priest bonus action, Channel Divinity, so you can actually use these commands now. If you don't do that level command, then these commands are not available on this character, so make sure that you're doing that. And anytime that you add a new class and or subclass, run that command again with the new class or subclass, and it'll just add it to what you're doing. So that should cover the basics for character creation, getting things started. Once you've gotten through this part of the process, you're pretty much good to go ahead and start RPing. Another thing to note that you'll hear often, check the pins in every channel, even the RP ones. Check the Jade Seaport pins, even for RP channels, because it will tell you specific things. Some of it's lore, but some of it's also, you know, activities that you can do here, or in this case, that it is a travel channel, so that if you want to move to different sections of the city, you actually have to use the travel command inside of this channel to do that. And I will let you discover what that actually does for you later on. But there will be other videos that we post in regards to the bot and the way that you interact with it. There's a ton of features that are going to continually be developed and added, and we will try to do our best going forward to not only have a good write-up for how these things work, but also these video components for you more visual and auditory learners. So we really appreciate you, checking us out and joining us for some fun adventures. We hope you have a great time here. If you have any questions of the staff, there is a questions channel that you can submit questions in, and usually we try to be very readily available. We try to be timely about these things. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask us there, or you can even, plop in, a basic question in Gen Chat. There's probably some players in there that have already asked that question or encountered that thing, and they can help guide you through it too. So we hope you enjoy your time here, and we thank you for joining us, and happy hunting.